Greetings, Professor Aiko, RPT 300 students, or whoever's watching. I'm Matthew Maduli, and today I'm going to talk about my leadership analysis. I'll be reflecting upon my group dynamics, how I take my personal attributes as a leader in a follower or in a group effort, and how I use it to make a socially just and safe environment for my group members, team, or whoever I'm working with. Along with that, I'm going to discuss on what I'd like to improve in my leadership qualities and development. I think a lot of people can agree that even though we've been in a pandemic for a little over a year, it has been tough to adjust to the remote learning online experience. Especially with this course, RPT 300, having to learn to work with a whole group, learning about leadership, group development, and understanding each other is kind of hard to do behind a screen. I was given the chance to work with my group, Group 2, or There's a Deadline, with Vincent, Ibrahim, Ramisha, and Clarissa. The five of us worked really well, coming from many different backgrounds. Vincent being taking hiatus from school and returning to SFSU for an RPT major, along with Clarissa, who's a major in RPT as well, but also a focus or a minor in French. Ibrahim is about my age, a second year, 19, 20 years old, working part-time, very busy with work and school, and excuse me, Ramisha is working on her ministry, which is fantastic. And for me, I'm just a college student with part-time work and then trying to balance out school at the same time. And those dynamics have been really helpful with different experiences, different backgrounds. But it did also take some time for us to understand and work and be comfortable with another. According to an article by Mike Kulikov in 2020, he talked about the 5 stages of excuse me, group development. There's going to be forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. Even though the semester is coming to a close end, the adjourning phase, as in splitting apart and seeing each other, probably not again or in the near future, I feel like our group has gone through from the forming stage to between norming and storming. Forming is obvious. It's when the group comes together, meets on common ground, introduces each other, and very icebreaker stuff. Storming is the group, according to the article, it's the very difficult part where things tend to get loose. There's misunderstandings, some people find out they don't like each other, there's problems, and this is probably one of the hardest parts in group development to get past. Thankfully, our group probably was in the storming stage for probably a couple of weeks before we could actually become fully comfortable, talk, and have fun with each other. Excuse me. Even though probably by week 7, week 8, halfway through the semester, we had to finally get into our norming stage where we finally had agreements, how to communicate, what we can commit to, and all that fun stuff. But it can be true that we did have, like any group, our own little bumps in the road. Regarding roles within our group and how they've changed throughout the semester, I think it all started when Vincent proposed a fantastic idea, which was horizontal leadership. When we were building our group contract and deciding who would be the leader, who would be a follower, who would take on this role, we all agreed within a horizontal leadership. Connecting to the idea from Leadership in Leisure Services by Deborah J. and I think Ronald Ramsing. They talked about democratic leadership, and this idea is when everyone within the group helps make a decision. Much like the political idea, Democrats believe that everyone in the masses or each member should have a say on how things should go, and that's pretty much how things went. Even though we did have our times where people would take initiative, someone would want to do this, someone would take that, and we did make sure to come to a consensus. There was no really a distance in power. It was make sure that we all can agree on certain decisions, certain ideas, and make sure we all had the same understanding. If not, how we can work around it. So we very much followed a group dynamic of a horizontal leadership or a demographic style of leadership. Regarding my own leadership qualities, I like to pride myself as a very extroverted social person. If my voice sounds a bit low right now, it's because it's later in the day, and I did just eat a lot, and my voice is a bit crackled from eating, but anyways, besides the point, I pride myself on being a inspirational motivator, as we talked about in class, very positive, goofy, fun. I can go a bit off task, but I can work really hard. One of the best things I did like about this class was taking personality test. We did look into the Myers-Briggs and DISC test and the 16 personalities and how that all connected to who we are as leaders and as people within the work world. My results is that I came out as a motivator and an adventurer. While these tests aren't 100% correct and they're all just programmed results based on what you click, I feel like I connected with these results really well. As a motivator, like I said before, they're very inspirational, talk things up, a very charismatic opportunity goer, making sure everyone in the group has a good morale, a very hype person that's really to get the party started, which I really resonate with. The adventurer, I think, is a bit more fun, especially with the word adventure. I'm a big Tomb Raider fan, and that person definitely can take risks, have fun, like an entertainer. Like I said, can be a bit off task if you let them talk too much or take too much control, but they're always there to have a good time. Especially with me in the retail world or even in past school projects, I'm willing to take a risk and do something a bit out of the box just for the challenge. But in my opinion, testing new, like you never know how things are gonna go until you try it, and that's the adventure in me, I guess. While being an adventurer and a motivator is great to look at, it's also important to care about the others in your group and how making the climate very just and socially safe for everyone in my team. As a leader, I think it's important to have cultural proficiency in being culturally adaptable to those around you, whatever the case may be. Make sure that you feel safe, that they feel safe, and that they have a room that they could work with comfortably to reach towards a certain success. For me personally, I like transparency and making sure that everyone is open and comfortable to share what they want without being forced. I like to always joke about, but be honest, that I'm a proud homosexual male. I'm cisgendered and Filipino American that doesn't know much about his own culture. I come from a pretty good upper middle class family from Stockton, California, and recognizing my own privileges is pretty key so I could share mine and hear from others or what disadvantages they may have. Having this no shield, no power distance, getting to connect with background with other people is very crucial in my opinion, and that will allow a group or organization to feel comfortable where they're working with who they're working with and connect with others, but not just me. And when you connect with each other through background, through culture, through identity, it leaves so much room for working with each other and how each other works, skills, personality, um, life, anything. And I think that would be a how my personal attributes and ideas are going to greatly affect an environment that I want to work with in any future. And finally, I'd like to go over my leadership development desires and plans for the future. Even though I'm an undeclared student, I still have plans to go into some type of leadership, management, and administration positions when I'm more graduated and have a career on my hands. Like I discussed before, I'm a very social, outgoing, talkative person. I love to participate. The only issue is that I do know that I can participate a little too much. That being said, I'd like to further improve my listening and giving feedback. One of the best things I learned during this semester is the activity of listening and giving feedback and making sure to absorb what their students are saying. Taking from a study from University of Waterloo, having a better speaking allows a better connection with your group mates and what you're actually talking about. And it's not only just in the work world, the RPT world, the professional world, just in social cues in general. And for me, I know that I definitely have a problem of interrupting others because I'm too excited because I could connect to them so fast instead of letting them finish. And then with that issue, since I'm so ready to speak, I kind of push away other people's ideas and what they're saying in my brain because I'm so ready to share my ideas. Not saying I'm very dismissive of them, I just know that I need to work on actually sitting down, listening, being quiet, being attentive, understanding what they're saying, and then fully share what I can say, even if we have the same ideas. And I know that's one of my attributes I need to practice on in the future as a leader. Connecting with cultural proficiency, I also would like to release a lot of implicit biases. Like I said, I am a homosexual, gay, queer male living in Stockton, California with my family, supported by my parents. They make roughly six figures altogether. And I'm a very privileged cisgender male, I'll say that for now. I've had a lot of support being a very flamboyant, cross-dressing, expressive gay man, and I don't know a lot of things within other communities. Even though a lot of people say there's a big white privilege in the queer community, there's still a lot of conservative issues that they have to have as well, and that goes with any type of minority or majority issue that there is. Having a family, two parents that both come from the Philippines, work their way up from a third world background to having their own house and mortgage, and to able to have the luxury to travel and go to casinos, I was raised with some moderate views. I identify as a democratic liberal, but I do know, can be honest with myself, that I have some moderate and probably some conservative views, and I would like to release and change a lot of them so I could be very open minded. For example, I talked about in one of the forums that I have some implicit biases towards homeless people. In Stockton, California, we do have a pretty big homeless issue, and I'm raised and held to believe that they're there for a certain reason, and it's not always right to have that type of assumption and bias and judgment towards them, because you never know what their story is, and that goes with anything that has a negative connotation towards it. So as a leader, I definitely would like to clear up and push away a lot of implicit biases, and just be very open-minded, and put, clearly take advantage of learning new things from my members, from my teammates, from organizations, anything. So overall, that was my leadership analysis, going over group dynamics, my personal attributes as a leader in making a socially safe and just work environment with a group or organization, and why I would like to improve myself as a leader in the future long run. It was a very fun semester, learning a lot about leadership and group development, and having to learn with another group through a screen. Thank you so much for watching and taking the time. I hope you guys have a wonderful day.